Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's season 10, episode 6, and today, after the disappointment of our Carabao Cup exit in the last episode and our failure to defend the trophy, today we have a go at another competition as we face Bayer Leverkusen in the second knockout round of the Europa League, otherwise known as the last 16. We've then, after this episode, got Arsenal in the FA Cup before we start the run into the Premier League season. We're only 6 points behind leaders Man United with a game in hand, so we could even be in the title race yet, but it's also condensed and tight at the top, though I'm not too sure about that one. But in the league we have got the second highest goal scored and the second best defensive record, so I'm not too disappointed with that. We're certainly up there with the big sides, it's just whether we've got the squad to compete on 2 or 3 fronts. If we go and have a quick look at the job centre as well, there's some big jobs that are insecure at the moment. Hopefully 1 or 2 of those will become available in the next few weeks, so if we go all the way up to the top, there's a lot of decent jobs available, but none of them are bigger than Newcastle. Unfortunately, the Ajax job we didn't get an interview for either. My beloved Luton Town have got a job advert out, but unfortunately that would be a bit of a step down at this stage. The Liverpool job's insecure, as is Roma in Serie A. Napoli keeps flicking between it as well, so there's a couple of big offers potentially on the way. We've just got to wait for those jobs to become available. The one other thing we've had off camera since the last episode is our new youth intake, and to be brutally honest, it doesn't deserve much of a mention, so it's not going to get too much of one. There was only one decent player to come through. If we put them in order up here, he's already been signed by the club. Nigel Stone, a 15-year-old centre-half. He's 1-star ability, 3-star potential, and he's just about okay. Should become a decent professional due to his determined personality, but he's definitely not going to make it at this level. And then moving on to the schedule, things have been going rather well since that Carabao Cup exit. Just one defeat, and that was against Chelsea in the league. We smashed Bradford 5-0 immediately after our exit from the League Cup. Suarez, Martin and Edwards, Brace and Rice as the reserve team ran riot against the Championship side. And then at home to Brighton in the league, we won 5-1 in that one too. Florentin Bernard with a hat-trick, as well as a couple of other scorers. And then a sneaky 1-0 win with a late penalty from Douglas Luiz was enough to get us the 3 points at Leicester, before a narrow 2-1 win at home to Everton as well. Brian Barrett and Yanderson with a penalty from Everton sandwiched between them. And then against Hajduk split in the first Europa League knockout round, you obviously know we got through as we're playing the second round today, but we got past Hajduk split thanks to a 2-0 away win. Bernard and Barrett scored in that one. We had no weekend game, so we played our first team and then gave them all a rest the week after. Mauro Oliveira got us a point at home, and we would have won the game if Bernard Martin hadn't missed a penalty. We were saving everyone for the weekend though, and it didn't quite work out as we lost 1-0 against Chelsea, with the winger's name that I can't pronounce scoring the goal again. We got back to winning ways with a 3-0 win at home to Huddersfield though. Bernard Martin with a brace in that one as we rested everyone for the FA Cup tie at the weekend. That was against Liverpool yet again. We've played them so many times this year, twice in the league, twice in the League Cup, and now in the FA Cup as well. It went to extra time and I feared we were going to be put out on penalties again, but Billy Gilmore and Bernard Martin with 2 extra time goals to prevent that. And then back-to-back draws in the last week. Firstly in the away leg against Bayer Leverkusen. It looked like it was going to be a dodgy performance early on, but we got back into it with Douglas Luiz getting a big goal. How often do we say that? And then we rested some players at the weekend, but unfortunately we were held to a 0-0 draw against Southampton, something which has really harmed us in the title race. But we go into this second leg of the Europa League, really looking forward to getting to the quarter-finals. If we can do our job and win at home, hopefully we'll do just that. Just Andre Hayek's unregistered for this one. Declan Rice is doubtful as well, so it's going to be a tricky 3 days for us, but it's really important before the international break that we get through in these 2 competitions. If we're still fighting for the treble at the end of the month, then I'll certainly be very happy, and what a way to increase our reputation, to complete our coaching badge and then win the Premier League, FA Cup and Europa League. That would put us in absolute dreamland. If we could win every competition we're in over 2 years, that would certainly be some achievement. But let's go and get into the game against Bayer Leverkusen. It's important we get through today. I don't care if it's a scrappy 1-0 or an exhilarating 4-2, as long as we get through on the night. So let's go and look at our lineup for today. If we put them in position order, we've got David Raya in goal, Gomez and Lewis the fullbacks with Konza and Yanderson in the middle. You could probably name this team off the top of your tongue now. I could probably just record this bit and save it for every episode rather than having to do it each time. time. We've got Douglas Luiz in a Segundo Volante role. I obviously wouldn't be able to use this one though, as I've made reference to it. So it's Billy Gilmour in the middle, Arzani, Ranzan and Barrett, the three-man creative force, and then Florentin Bernard up front, who's verging on 20 goals for the season again. So let's get into the game. We've got a strong bench if we need some changes, and hopefully we'll be able to hold on and get ourselves through. If we draw 0-0, we've done enough. We'll be through on away goals, but I wouldn't really like to rely on that, as I'm sure it'd get a bit nervy towards the end. It's the 4-2-3-1 for Bayer Leverkusen. Capello's in the holding role today. He scored the early goal in the first leg, so we need to be careful of him. A little bit of the unknown, as the first leg they weren't particularly forthcoming. They were trying to be quite defensive and not concede an away goal. But let's tell the lads to prove a point, get out into the first half. We've got a tunnel interview to do first. One strange question, seemed a bit of a pointless one that, but we're into the first half and it's Bayer Leverkusen with a kickoff. They're trying to get the ball back to the keeper. He's going for a long kick. It's a little bit laggy there. I'm not quite sure why, as Koulibaly comes down the right, but the highlight ends and it's still goalless. Just under 10 minutes gone, it's a throw on the right for Leverkusen. They've given it away to Barrett though, and now Florentin Bernard. He finds Arzani on the edge, charges past one. Brilliant save by the Leverkusen keeper. It's behind for a corner kick, and how we haven't taken a lead there, I'm not quite sure. A world-class save, the corner's headed away, and now Paulinho can hold it up for Bayer, but he puts it out for a throw on the left. It's Lewis with the throw back to Gilmour. He'll carry on straight where we left off as we look to build another attack early on. We've certainly dominated the early stages, but Arzani's given the ball away there. Now it's Bayer on the left-hand side with Paulinho. Up to Perez, the lone striker. He's got a man off the right in Koulibaly though, and it's into the box as Gomez clears, but the header back in is straight into Raya's arms, and it's comfortably into his hands as we roll it out again. Konza looking to start another attack to Gilmour. He's bringing it forward unopposed, over halfway and finds Arzani on the right. Charging at the defence. Can he do better this time? Delivers to Bernard. He sure can, but Bernard heads it over the bar and wastes the opportunity we've created. It's Bayer with the goal kick long now. Long towards Lewis, the left back for us, who wins it brilliantly and finds Barrett. He finds Arzani. Goes down that right wing again. Tries to deliver, but it's blocked. And now Douglas Luiz recycles possession. Into Ranzan on the edge. Shots blocked the first time. Second one's better, but he's straight into the arms of the keeper. And it remains 0-0, but we're dominating the game. It's another highlight just a minute later. The cross is headed away by Núñez. Falls for Billy Gilmour. Two efforts on goal, and they're both deflected behind for a corner. And now we've got an outswinger with Gilmour to take. It's into the front post, headed away by Savas. Falls for Brian Barrett out to Gilmour again. It's a good challenge by Savas, though out for a throw, and hopefully we'll get a little breather. We don't. It's just 1 minute later. Núñez with a long ball forward. Lewis has got the ball at left back, and this seems a little bit more than extended highlights, although there have all been good chances. Arzani on the right hand side again, delivers to Bernard, but it's straight into the keeper's arms, and it's still goalless despite our brilliant start. Not even a minute more on the clock now. Capello finds Paulinho, and he's got the ball inside to Savas. He beats a man, brilliant turn there, charges to 25 yards, but he puts it just wide, and we survive our first scare. That's Bayer's first shot of the match. We've had a 5-minute breather and we're back with Arzani. I'd love to know what comprehensive highlights are. If this is extended, it's absolutely crazy. Savas with a shot. Raya makes a brilliant save. I thought he was going to sneak that free kick in there. Brilliant work by the keeper. 25 minutes gone, it's a Bayer corner, out to Paulinho. They're really coming into this now, but it's blocked and we've got a counter on. It's 3-on-2, we've got to make it count. Ranzan finds Bernard, he's forced him wide, but there's two in the middle if he can find them. He can't, the cross is blocked, and it's cleared long downfield. It's going to be won back by Jamal Lewis, and now we've got a free kick with Arzani. Brilliant save by the keeper, this time it's Bayer's keeper. It's really been a great game. Two good sides, two attacking teams, and fantastic saves from both goalkeepers so far to keep it goalless with 10 minutes to the break. We've nearly reached half time then, just 1 minute plus stoppage time to go. It's really calmed down a bit now, but Billy Gilmour's into the box and his shot's been blocked brilliantly. It was probably going to hit the target, so it's a good job the defender got a leg on it. It is half time now though, it's 0-0. We're going through as it stands, but I'm a little bit nervous as Bayer have still created chances on the break, and I wouldn't like to rely on this for the whole game. We're going to tell the lads not to get complacent, completely ignore Mikel Antia, and most of them are motivated or focused, so hopefully that will bode well in the second half. It's Bernard back to Ranzan. He finds Gilmour. Can we create a chance at the start of the half? No, we can't, as Gilmour's pass is awful, and it's out for a throw to Bayer at left back. Is Arzani on the left side of the box, goes for the shot, hits the post, it's cleared away, and it's out for a throw on the left. We continue to create brilliant chances, and unfortunately it remains 0-0, but surely it's just a matter of time. It's a free kick 20 yards out, Arzani takes it, we've finally broken the deadlock. A brilliant goal by Daniel Arzani. He's been threatening all game, his delivery's not always been perfect, but he's done the job now, and although this doesn't really change anything, it just means if we concede we go to extra time, rather than going straight out. Is Capiello heading it away to Luiz? Can we really run riot now? Luiz goes for another special, and the substitute caused a bit of lag there, but it's a brilliant save by the keeper, and it's Gilmour with the delivery. It's into Bernard, flicks it in, Janderson on the volley and it's saved, and now it's out for another corner. We'll make a sub once this highlight's done. It's Arzani with an in-swinging delivery. Bernard at the back post, Konza nods it down, but it's straight into the arms of the keeper, who comes and claims it gratefully. 15 minutes left, we'll see this Arzani free kick. We want to make the subs, but there's so many highlights. It's out for a corner, so we'll do it now. Let's go and look at the changes we can make. I've just realised there's a couple of unrecognisable names there. We did have a couple of late January signings and in positions we needed, so I'm going to take you through the transfer centre in detail after this match, but let's just get the subs on and get this game over and done with. Florentin Bernard's going to be replaced with Bernard Martin, Gilmour's going to be replaced with one of the new signings, Leonardo, and Ranzan replaced with Mauro Oliveira, one of our regular star substitutes. So let's get back in to see the corner. Is Arzani with an in-swinger? Hopefully the changes will be made before then, but it doesn't look like we're going to see the set piece. It's Arzani with a corner out swinger this time. Bernard Martin can't get on the end of it, but it's back to Arzani. He finds Barrett, brilliant save again. I don't know why the subs are causing it to lag today, but an absolutely brilliant bit of goalkeeping. It looked a good save, which doesn't often happen on Football Manager, so what a bit of goalkeeping it must have been. Janderson out to Martin as the corner's cleared. Janderson again, doesn't want to lose it there. Manages to scrape it back to Gomez, and the highlight ends as we retain possession, and now there's just a minute to go. Arzani's going to deliver. Oliveira's at the back post, it's just over him, so he's forced to cross it for Konza. He's been forced backwards though, and it goes to Leonardo, the new man. He finds Douglas Luiz. Konza back to Luiz again, and if we can keep possession we won't concede, and that's the most important thing. The highlights ended, so we're going to drop our mentality to balanced. We're going to waste time as well. The usual changes, hold our shape and slow the pace down. Hopefully that'll see out the last few minutes comfortably. We haven't really looked like conceding in the second half, and we've had plenty more chances, but as it stays 1-0, there's always that little bit of worry. It's Gomez with a throw on the right hand side. He's headed away to Douglas Luiz. Leonardo out to Arzani. Leonardo again. We've got 3 minutes of stoppage time to get past. It's Oliveira to Arzani. A second goal would settle the nerves, but Nunes clears and Konza heads away as we continue to keep attacking. Leonardo to Jamal Lewis on the overlap. There's 2 or 3 in the middle, but the cross is blocked and it's out for a throw. Hopefully that'll be enough. Oliveira's gone off injured, but he's come back on now. Leonardo keeps possession, and Janderson's got it on halfway. Just 2-on-2 at the back, so we don't want to lose it. The long clearance is headed away, and Paulinho flicks it on, but only as far as Luiz, as we continue to keep possession. Leonardo out to Lewis, brilliant overlap. There's 2 in there, he can't find them. The cross is blocked and cleared away. Just 40 seconds left, we don't want to concede now. It would be absolutely heartbreaking, but luckily the Bayer Leverkusen left back just hoofs it out for a throw into us. It's Lewis on halfway to take it. He finds Oliveira. 10 seconds left. Blow your whistle, referee. Arzani's got the ball into the box. It's blocked to Oliveira. Arzani again. He's high and wide, but that's got to be time. Surely the whistle will go with the goal kick. We're 20 seconds over. There's not been any stoppages, but the whistle still doesn't go. It finally does now, though. We nick it 1-0 on the night, but nick it's not the right word. We absolutely dominated the game. A fantastic performance and a good result to get through, and we'll just say well done to the lads before going and looking at the media report. So there's the confirmation then, we're through to the last 8, as are Liverpool, our English counterparts, and there's a few other big sides in there, and a couple of possible surprises as well, the likes of Partizan Belgrade, not competing at the top for European honours for a few years. So an interesting competition, and I'd argue aside from Liverpool, there's probably no sides with the stature of Bayern Munich, who were obviously the side that defeated us last year. If we look at what the media have said about the game, we triumph in the second leg, and we certainly deserve to as well. I'm a bit disappointed disappointed they didn't praise our performance there. Apparently Arzani's now a world-class winger, which explains why we're right up there. Personally, I don't think he's anything special. He plays really well, but his attributes don't suggest it, so I'm a little bit surprised he's got that description. Newcastle win and get to the last day. Now we've got a big job to do in the FA Cup at the weekend. We've got another £1 million in the bank, and Arzani was brilliant on that occasion, so we'll go and give him praise for his performance. His free kick winning us the tie. We'll deal with the press conference in a minute, but before we finish this episode, I've got to show you the transfer action. I'm finally pleased our director of football's done something. He's spent nearly all of our budget, which we can't complain about, and he's brought in 2 players that are really good and solid squad players in positions we desperately needed cover. But firstly, in terms of the outs, we had 1 player leave on loan. That was Pablo Polanco to Ajax on deadline day, I presume because he managed to sign Leonardo, and we've got about £1 million coming in for him, as well as all of his wages being paid. But let's look at the 2 deadline day signings. We met Hayek in the last episode, but Pedro is a right back. We looked at him briefly in the last episode, as our director of football made a bid in early January, which was accepted, but then he failed to agree terms with the right back. He managed to this time, offering him double the amount, and he's a 3-star ability, 3-star potential fullback. He's naturally a right back, but he's 2-footed. He can play in wing back areas, he can play left back, centre midfield and attacking right wing, so he's got just about everything to be a perfect squad player. He's made a couple of appearances already in the Premier League, so I'm really looking forward to having him at the club. Just 26 years of age, he's got 4 or 5 good years in him, and we haven't got to worry about that position for some time. And then the second one you saw make an appearance today is Leonardo, who we've again signed from Brazil, a 22-year-old midfielder, 3.5-star ability, 4-star potential, and he's going to be knocking on the door of Billy Gilmore soon, saying, I want your position in the team. He's a brilliant young player. We signed him for 11 million and now he's worth 29. A fantastic bit of work from our director of football, proving you don't have to break the bank. He's on 50 grand a week on a 4-year deal, and he's going to be an absolute superstar. I'm certainly sure of that. So I'm delighted to have him here as well. 2 league appearances for him as well, and I now feel we've got a squad to compete, even if not at the top of the Premier League, for some of these cup competitions. So if we go to our schedule, we're going to try and get through against Arsenal in the FA Cup, and then we'll either come back for the semi-final of that competition, depending on who the opponents are. Should we go and have a look at who's left in the draw? There's still Manchester United, Tottenham and City, so potentially it could be a star-studded semi-final with us or Arsenal making up the numbers. In terms of the Europa League, we could have a big quarter-final on our hands. I'm just hoping it's not Liverpool again. I can't face any more games against them. If we got them in this competition, it would make it 7 games in a season, and that's really too many times to be playing any side. So we've got plenty of league games coming up, but we're not going to worry about that until the run-in. If we are in the title race, the last game's against the leaders Manchester United, so that's going to be a cracking end to the season, particularly on my manager's 35th birthday. So in this crucial running period, you know we're only ever going to be back for big games, so hopefully you'll join me again for the next one, and fingers crossed we'll still be in the FA Cup when you come back, and we'll have a relatively friendly semi-final draw if one of the other underdogs can cause a shock. But if you did enjoy this episode, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you thought of our director of football's January work. I'm really delighted that he's been sensible in his signings, filled the gaps in the squad we had. We needed backups in those 2 positions, and he's delivered with really decent players who are versatile and young enough as well. Let me know if you think we're going to win a trophy this year. Let's see how many of you are right. I think we are going to win one, and I think it's most likely to be the Europa League at this point, but then hopefully that will open us up to big jobs on the continent, as we'll have that big reputation. The Europa League holds such importance to other European leagues, unlike in England where we tend to undervalue it a bit, but hopefully I'll be able to do well in that one, and we'll be able to compete for 2 or 3 trophies. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one The Head Coach, and then our One Club series Part of the Furniture with Torquay United. Season 11 of that story starts tomorrow, but you'll need to go back and see Season 10 first if you haven't. It's been a brilliant year for Torquay United, and we've got some landmark moments coming up this year. The 10-year review from that series was out yesterday as well, so go back and check that one out to make sure you're completely up to date for Season 11 when we kick off with a transfer special from that one tomorrow. tomorrow. There's also weekly content from my snooker 19 career, which we're really getting settled into now, and I'm finally starting to improve at the game, so hopefully we'll make some progress in that one. And then at the end of the month it's the turn of Cricket 19, the official game of the Ashes. I've really loved the previous editions of that game, so I'm going to have a lot of content out from that at the end of this month and start of June, and then followed by weekly content every Friday. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time for another big episode from Newcastle as we continue our fight for 2 or 3 trophies.